Hello, my most amazing artists. I am here to show you how to make a paper loom for a 3D weaving. Your 3D weaving will look like this when you are finished. But before we get to this point, we need to make the loom that the weaving goes on. So, you will need some scissors, your actual piece of paper. I'm using cardstock paper, which is thicker than normal paper, so it can hold all of your extra weight of paper as you put it on. You also need a ruler and a pencil. I'm going to use a marker so that you guys can see the lines really well, but really you should use a pencil just in case you make a mistake and need to change it. Now, measuring out, we are going to measure a 7 by 7 part of our paper. So, make sure that you line up the very first inch, not at the very top of the ruler, but actually at this first black line. The black line should be over where the edge of the paper is. You also want to use your eyes all down the ruler. Make sure it's as straight as you can possibly make it. Then you're just going to do little dashes right on top of each inch because we're going to make a 7 by 7 inch paper loom. So now that I have marked out where my lines go, I need to make very straight lines all the way down. So the way I'm going to make sure my lines are going to be straight is this side of the ruler is going to match up to this edge of the paper, and the top of my ruler is going to match up to the top of my paper just to keep it really even. There we go. Also notice how I'm not directly over the little mark I made. I'm just slightly to the left of it. That's so that when I put my marker down, it hits directly on top of my line and I go all the way down. I'm going to do this for all of my lines. Okay, now that I've finished the up and down part of my loom, or the where the warp strings will go, I'm now going to do it for this way where the weft, or the back and forth part of my weaving, will go. So I'm going to turn my paper. I'm going to set my ruler on this straight edge right here. I'm going to make sure that this lines up with the first part of my paper. It's got to be straight. Then I'm going to make marks just like I did before on each one of the inch all the way to 7. Then I'm going to do exactly what I did before. I'm going to make sure that this lines up really straight. I can double check it using this flat piece. And I'm going to make a line all the way down. Okay, so now that I have my grid lines done, if you got off a little bit, like see how I didn't do right on the mark here, that's actually okay. It's not going to really mess me up that badly. As long as I take a look at it and they're generally straight, even squares that I made. Now I know that I don't need this part, so I'm going to put an X to remind myself to cut off this part. And also I only need 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't need this row, so I'm going to cut off those when I start to cut. I'm going to use my scissors. Make sure when you're using scissors that you do not walk around the studio with them. If you need to get up for any reason, you just put your scissors down. Or if you need to move the scissors, go ahead and hold them by the blade. Make sure they're closed. Hold them by the blade and then walk to wherever you're going and set them down. We want to be as safe as possible in the studio. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. I'm going to cut right on the outside part of my line, not on top of it. just like that. So you can see just a teeny weeny bit of paper on the outside line. And then of course I'm going to cut on this line just like I did before. Now, here's the most important part. Once you finish cutting out, you're going to turn your loom over and you're going to write your name and your university. If you forget this step, I cannot guarantee that your loom will make it back to you, so make sure that you do that. And now you are ready to begin weaving.